here. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see you, and it's awesome also to see a bunch of people who just came off retreat with me. What, like 2 minutes ago, it feels like, right? Um, yeah, we were just up in at BBRC until Sunday, so it's very recently, and we had a hybrid retreat, and I see some people are here who were hybrid, who joined us online and I was there with my colleague Jennifer Cho and Greg Serper. Greg Serper was on the land with me, and Jennifer Cho was the teacher for our online Sangha. And yeah, so what I would love to do today is so I have a little teaching prepared, but there's no need for me to offer that. I would much more actually like to hear after our meditation what is alive for you and see if there are questions, either follow up of the retreat or there's already a question, two things to prepare for your first Vipassana. Very happy to talk about that. And if that is okay, what I would like to start with actually just take a moment. And so thank you for putting in the chat box where you're calling in from. And let's just take a moment and actually check in with yourself right now. How are you doing right now? What's alive? What's here? As we're transitioning into practice space here together. And I would love for you to share that in the chat box. So what do we have here in the Sangha right now? Yeah, calm and awareness, buzzy energy, peace. Yeah, yeah. Working on being awake to what is. Absolutely, Beth. Yes. Grief and worry. Yes. Excitement and fatigue, concern for people. Yes, being okay, what is in LA and anxious about what's happening in the city and the country. Yes, absolutely. Acceptance. Anxiety and hunger. Yes, it's lunchtime. At least here in on the West Coast. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I have to say, so I already taught like an hour this morning here in LA in person. So we have this very wonderful in-person Sangha at the Venda Museum in Culver City. So if any of you, for those of you who are in the LA area, if you have time every Wednesday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. and it's offered freely. So you just show up and it's actually a really beautiful museum, which just that actually does a lot for my nervous system to go like, yeah, it's beautiful environment helps, right, with that. So yeah, if you're either in town or if you live in the area, please join us. And yeah, a lot of like what people are putting in the chat box was, of course, as you can imagine, very alive in the room, right? For people in LA right now. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and can we make space for all that is here right now? Yeah, so that's part of our practice. So how are we being aware of and holding what is here and be curious about it and not get lost in the story or the stories around what is happening. Yeah, and it was actually, I just share that with you, and then we start with a meditation. So this morning there was a young woman who she was her first time with our group, and during the guided meditation, she was crying most of it. And I was like, whoa, okay. And then I talked to her afterwards, and she said, oh my God, I had no idea how much anxiety and how much anger I had in me. And I needed to feel that. And it's like, does that make sense to you? And she was just like, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah. And so, just wanted to share that with you that actually feeling our feelings is not that easy because it's hard, right? So for most people, it's hard. Jennifer, I see like it's not hard, like shaking your head. But yeah, for a lot of people, it's not that easy. Like we rather think about our feelings instead of feeling them. And so sometimes actually use, and again, like we're not making this on purpose, but sometimes just to allow, so the whole like allowing things to be as they are and allow for whatever needs to arise in a safe enough container in the meditation can be very helpful. Yeah, because we're then not so washed away without any kind of boundaries in our everyday life. But I often have that, and I wonder if that is true for you too. Is so when I meditate in the morning, it is often for me a time to actually check in with myself, see how am I doing, and to see what's the effect of things on my system to a point where because my days can get very busy. And again, like I don't want to feel, or parts in me don't want to feel difficult emotions. So I kind of distract myself from them. And so sometimes actually having the meditation space to just say, like, okay, what is here? What is happening? And how do things land in my system can be very helpful. And then, of course, with the tools of mindfulness and also knowing how to work with challenging emotions, very helpful. Yeah. So I know what's there. So it doesn't come out through the floorboards somewhere else, right? It doesn't just spill out so much in a way that it otherwise might. So I know it's there. And I'm really I mean I'm still working on um processing emotions. Did not really learn those skills too much growing up. So I'm still learning that, deepening that. And yeah, just finding ways to let emotions, remember emotions have the word motion in it. They move. Yeah, they move through. And that is something that we can practice as part of our meditation practice, if that is relevant for you. Yeah. So it might not be what's relevant to you right now, but again, given what's happening right now, especially in LA right now, just wanted to offer that in case it's helpful for some folks here. Okay, so let's meditate, shall we? So I think what we're going to do is we'll meditate, I would say like 20, 25 minutes, something like that. Yeah, and then we have a chunk of time for sharing questions and answers. Yeah. All right, so inviting us all to find a posture that is supportive for this practice. Feel free to turn your face away from the screen. Like if you're sitting in front of the screen a lot, it might be nice to actually just like pivot away so we can still see you, but you don't have the camera in your face. And then just allowing the body to maybe just move a bit or stretch. It feels like I can always stretch my neck. Like I hold a lot of tension in my neck. So allowing the body to move until it finds a point of stillness. Right, so I don't know if you've ever seen birds sitting down on their nest. They often do a little like ooh, something like that, like a little shuffle before they settle down. And I feel like my body likes that too. It likes a little shuffle before I settle in. And then either just closing your eyes or lowering your gaze, whatever feels most supportive for you right now. And then connecting with the ground that is holding you right now. So it could be your feet on the ground, your like buttocks on the cushion or the chair. And then maybe if you have some back support, feeling into that too. And can you feel the support? Can you feel that your body is being held right now? And if the breath is a good anchor for you, inviting you to just start to maybe with a little or a few longer, deeper breaths. So you get a little bit more sensory stimulus with breathing in a little bit more deeply or exhaling a little bit longer. And then really connecting with those sensations. You can also focus on sounds or sensations in your hands. And then if you have been making the breath anything other than it normally is, just releasing the breath and still keeping it company. And just noticing where the attention is. And especially if your attention is not in the room with you anymore, bring it back. Be here. And maybe asking yourself the question, is there anything you can soften right now? Maybe your jaw, your belly, or your mind. Or maybe just leaning back just a little bit. Allowing yourself to feel the body sitting here, maybe lying here right now. And also feeling community, feeling that you're here with Sangha right now. If you feel a bit disconnected, it can be helpful to just look at the screen for a moment and see us all. We're all here together right now. Mhm. And now I would like to shift into a bit of loving kindness practice. So you can either follow along to my voice or you can also just drop below my words. So inviting you to start with somebody who's very easy to love, very easy to wish well for. Could be a friend, could be a child, a beloved pet. And just let yourself feel how much you wish for this person or being to be safe and protected and happy and peaceful. And then seeing if you can extend these wishes to yourself as a fellow human. You can also see if you can allow maybe the love from your friend being reflected back to you. Can you let yourself be loved? Letting that in. Really wishing this body, this heart, this mind to be safe and protected, to be happy and peaceful. And now extending your care to the people around you, maybe in the same building that you're in, and not just the people, but also all what we call sentient beings, all beings that can feel. all beings that do not want to be in pain. And then expanding it further. And maybe pushing yourself a little bit and including people that you disagree with, or people that you have a hard time with, just as a way to really practice this deep wisdom that if we were all safe and would feel safe and would be happy and joyful and peaceful, we probably would act differently. Or Sharon Salzberg has this saying, she says, love your enemy, they just hate that. And then in a moment, I'll be ringing my bell. And then bringing your meditation gently to an end. So, what I was thinking, thank you everyone. What I was thinking, and we can make a different choice, make different choices. But if I counted that right, we actually have 10 people from the retreat here. And I was wondering if you would like to, the retreat people, to be together in two groups of 5 for 10 minutes while I stay in the main room with the people who were not on retreat. And then we can talk about whatever is relevant in your practice. And the retreat people can have a little powwow with each other and just talk about what has happened or how you're feeling now, like 3 days out of retreat. How does that sound? Should we try that? Yeah? Okay. So Madeline, I know who was on retreat. So I was
Yeah.
thinking that it's probably easier if I try to do breakout rooms and we're just sending them off. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be wonderful.
All right, let me see if I can do this. All right. We would need to breakout rooms. Let me see. And I just do that in order that I see your names here. Catherine, Joy, do you want to stay in the main room or you want to be in a breakout room? Michael, and then,
Joy said stay in the main room.
okay, okay, that's what I thought. Story. Let me see. Michelle G. Were you in retreat with us? Where's Michelle G? Oh yeah, of course. Sorry. Yeah, now I see your face. Sorry, I was like with the G. We had four Michelles on that room. So okay. Michelle G. What do I have? One, two, three, four. Whom am I missing? Um, Let me see. Um, I'm missing one person. I'm not quite sure right now who that is. Okay, so let me actually just call what I have and then whoever is not in the room, because I think I counted 10. So I have one group. I have Debbie, Gila, Jim, Lauren, Abrams, and Michael. That's one group. And in the second one, I have Michelle C, Michelle G, Story, Sweatland. I see Lila, you're missing. So yeah, okay. And I think anybody else that I missed? Okay, that should be it. Okay, so we'll give you 10 minutes. Okay, I'll open the rooms now. Have fun.
Christiane,
Yes.
there's Marianne if she wants to
And
join.
I was
Oh,
there
where
too.
are
This is
you?
Marianne B.
Oh, where are you? Oops. Wait. Oh, I'm confused right now.
Oh, you can't see her live. It's just a
Oh,
photo.
Marianne. Yes, of course. I see your picture. Okay, Marianne, you want to be in a group? Great. Let me put you into the group. Awesome. All right. You should have gotten an invitation.
Yes,
So do we got everybody? Marianne, you should have gotten an invitation.
please.
Okay. Hello, friends. So we have some time here. So who was it who asked the question about the Vipassana retreat earlier? Was it somebody who actually was on retreat? They shouldn't ask that question, I
That
think.
was me, Nikki.
Oh, Nikki. Hi, Nikki. Yes, thank you. So are you talking about BBRC style Vipassana or Goenka Vipassana?
BBRC. I'm attending next week.
Oh, you are fantastic. Okay, fantastic. So, in my experience, the most helpful thing is to start meditating more right now.
Yes.
You already doing that?
Yes, I've been practicing for about a week,
Mhm.
um, knowing that I'm going to be there with noble silence and with no phones.
Yes. Yes. So really, honestly, meditating more than for most people, meditating more than they do before they go on retreat is super helpful because it's kind of like it's like a warm-up run that you do before you go into the race. I mean, not that the retreat is a race, but you will be meditating so much more that so often just doing 2 sessions a day can be super helpful. Or if you meditate 20 minutes up it to 30 minutes or even 40 minutes. Yeah, just like it doesn't have to be super long. So if you just do a week or something, that can be very helpful. So that's what I do still to this day. When I go on retreat, I really try the week before, the 2 weeks before to meditate more. And I found that my mind settled so much quicker than when I don't do that. So that would be number one for me. And then the other is really to just trust that you will feel, so for most people, you will probably love the silence and to connect with people in a non-verbal way. Yeah. So just to trust that. And then basically hint number three, which I find like when people ask, so what would you have liked to know before you went on your first retreat? Is that the mind that I'm sitting with for the first 2 days or so is not the mind that you're sitting with for the entire week or the entire 2 weeks. Because the mind will settle down a lot. Yeah. And so like we're often saying like the first day or two, sometimes beginning of day 3, is we call it like the swamp days. Can sometimes feel like the mind is either very restless or very tired. And it's just, as you know that you don't fight it. It's just like, yeah, that's just the way it is. And knowing the mind will settle down. So those are probably like the 3 things that I would say I find the most helpful. Do you have any other questions or follow-up questions on that, or do other people have questions about that?
Thank you so much.
Is that helpful, Nikki?
Yes, I like the swamp analogy, especially the lotus blooming in a muddy pond.
Exactly, right? Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Very good. Any other questions? Practice questions, retreat questions? You just want to share how you're doing right now? Yeah, Beth, please.
Hello, everyone. Great to be here. I guess off of that first question, I was at a retreat this past weekend, unfortunately, not at Big Bear, though I was at your retreat last year at Big Bear with Greg and Jennifer, and it was so great.
I know. Yeah.
But my question then is, do you have any insight on things to think about doing post-retreat, sort of coming back into the real world? So as an example, when we were coming out of our retreat on Monday, the retreat organizers kind of started to give us a heads up on what was going on in LA downtown. That being said, it wasn't the full picture, so it kind of, for me, ended up being more confusing. But I was glad that they gave us the heads up, so we weren't just like reading about it on our own and having to react to it in our sensitive state. So I'm curious about that. And maybe if that's something you did tell folks at the retreat this past week. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we just alerted people that there was a lot going on and that they should be very careful with their media consumption, especially because the mind is so quiet and so sensitive. So really as something, and this is something I think it's good to practice all the time with like this onslaught of media, so media and also social media, to practice what we call guarding the doors of the senses. Yeah, and just to notice, be aware is so if this comes in through my senses, through the eyes, through the ears, like through whatever, how am I responding to that? And can my system handle that, or is it overwhelming? Yeah, and then just be kind and loving with yourself. And I think we want to be very clear, this is not, we're not checking out. Yeah, we're just aware. So basically, my goal is to be awake, but to not get out of balance to a point where I get dysfunctional. That's not helping anybody. And especially when we come back from retreat, it feels like we need to just like kind of almost put blinders on a little bit more so we don't get completely overwhelmed. Yeah, and then just over time, you can titrate that. You can see, can you handle it more? So, for example, I'm super sensitive to images. Most of us are, right? Because our sight, sense of sight is the most sensitive and the most predominant sense that we have for those of us who can see. And so I don't watch the news anymore because I can't control what comes in. And once it's in, it's too late. Yeah. And so I'm also like very discerning about what I click or don't click on, like on YouTube or on social media, because that I don't want to influence the algorithm in a particular way, that they show me more of stuff that I actually don't want to see. And I want to make it very clear this is not, or I hope, I mean, it's sometimes tricky to say from a place of avoidance. Yeah, but from a place of not getting so overwhelmed that, again, like I'm not useful at all anymore. Yeah. Thanks for that question, Beth. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna bring our friends back here. I have another minute here. Any other question? Oh, let me see here. Okay, any other questions? Oh, yeah, Jennifer, please.
Okay, you were just talking about like coming from a place of avoidance or feeling overwhelmed, and how do you just kind of feel that, or how can you tell the difference?
Great question. Great question. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know. But in my experience, this has a lot to do with just learning to listen to my physical cues more. So
Yeah.
I'm learning the language of my body to see like, so what is my body or my system doing when I get overwhelmed?
Mm-hmm.
So I know personally is I shut down and I withdraw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when I notice like I'm just pulling back, I don't want to talk to my friends, I just kind of like have this like kind of like barreling through kind of mode, right? So then I know like, oh, something is overwhelming and I can't handle that. And then some other people, what they notice is they overeat or they overtrain or they, right? So just to know that what are our mechanisms that pop up when
Yeah.
our system gets overwhelmed. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's something it's like a language that we're learning is my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just and then again like so like mindfulness invites us to be curious.
Yeah.
And so without judging, like we all go into avoidance because that's just a natural protective mechanism of our nervous system. And what does my system do when it gets overwhelmed? So that's a question, and that's very different for different people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yeah. Hello, friends. Welcome back. Was that nice to connect? People like, "Ah." Yeah, I know. So for those of you like thinking of Nikki, you'll have this little, I hope you have a chance to meet with other people from your retreat the week after once you come back out. So that's actually really, I love that Big Bear is offering that. So really as a way for also really the people who come off retreat or people who go into retreat. Yeah, to just check a little bit in with other people who are interested in this practice. So, for those of you who just came back, so we just had a few questions in particular around guarding the doors of the senses, which is a practice that the Buddha taught as a way to just be aware about how your system is responding to what comes in through the senses, and to guard yourself in a way that you don't get overwhelmed. Or when you get overwhelmed, then to know ways how to not to underwhelm. What's the process? Is there a verb for the process of getting yourself out of overwhelm? Regulating?
Is it regulate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
regulating. I was just thinking that too, Jen. Thank you. Yeah, to regulate yourself into like a more balanced state. Yeah. The other questions? Maybe from the retreat people, or if you want to share, what was it like to come back into this crazy world? Yes, Svetla, please.
Yeah. Coming back feels like an invitation to continue with my formal practice and then to continue with the practice in real life.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Different application, same practice, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And thank you so much for the thoughtful, considerate invite to unite us to
Wow.
reconnect.
Oh,
That was
beautiful.
a wonderful idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to share.
Yes, please.
I was sharing with the group that I had a sort of very unfortunate ripping the band-aid off sort of re-entry
Oh.
of just sort of not knowing what was going on in LA and deciding to go for a bike ride and just being by the Federal Building Monday morning and
Oh no.
seeing all of the armed guards and all of
Oof.
the tanks and stuff. And it was really
Scary. Very scary. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
and it was great to have these tools, and I came back and I cried and I held myself and
Mm.
um felt very open and vulnerable. But then there was this like hardening that happened
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that felt necessary and protective.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if with practice, like it's I don't need to become so hard to the outside world, if that makes sense,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what that looks like.
Yeah, and I also wonder if like so, and again, like because you were more open and unprotected, right? So of course, often it feels like the doors slam shut, and we feel we're more sensitive to that happening, right? So
Yeah.
big opening, and then it almost needs a big closing for you or for all of us to protect ourselves. And that is very jarring for the nervous system. And I'm really sorry that happened that way. Like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about that, right? When we're like sending you back home, that, yeah.
It was not the best decision to go for a bike ride in general, but then to
Yeah, of course yeah, right. We kind of told you to stay away from the media. So it's like you didn't know, right? We didn't say like, don't do bike rides in downtown.
yeah.
We get it. So, or don't go for a walk if you live in downtown. Yeah. I think what I would invite you to just practice a lot of self-compassion. Of just like, oh, like, of course your system needed to have a big closing. Yeah. And then to, again, just see, to say, like, okay, this is true and this is happening, and what else is happening? And then really deliberately look for something that is beautiful or easy or soothing. Yeah. So we're not denying that this is true. And we're also, again, like how can you help your system to, again, like regulate what we've been talking about here? Yeah, and using your the tools that you have learned, but also really thinking about other things that you already know, right? I know you're a surfer and a swimmer. So
Yeah.
yeah, so water might be good therapy for you, right?
Yeah. I was in the ocean this morning.
Ah, yeah. How was that?
It felt like home. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Good, good. So see, that's your wisdom right there. Yeah. So you know what's good for you. Yeah. You know how to orient to that. So I just really want to name that and respect that. Yeah. Thank you. And it is jarring what's going on. Yeah. And especially like the different ways the media is reporting about what's going on. I think that is partly for me so almost more confusing because I don't, right? It's like what's true, what actually happened, who to trust, that kind of thing, right? Yeah, so I find that confusing for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry to
Yeah.
jump
Oh,
in.
yeah. Sorry, Madeline, you needed a
That's
little bit of
okay.
time. Sorry.
No, I mean,
Thank you.
you're doing exactly what we want to hear from you. And at the same time, I need to jump in.
Yes,
So
please. Yes,
I'm
please.
sorry for that. So